Yeah. So for today, our discussion will be deeply discussed about the blockchain in the technology side. So the overview is why we need to learn the blockchain in the technology perspective, because in the very big picture, especially in the point of view of Industry 4.0, the blockchain technology become one of the most frontier technology that support the Industry 4.0, that establishing a unique feature and under unique services, especially for business and also for research and also in development. And what actually our goals for today is we will try to learn the aspect of the technology. So what exactly the blockchain? So we will try to learn about it, and then what the main component of technology that we can use in the blockchain that can help us to understand the blockchain in a very comprehensive way. So hopefully after this meeting, the student and also us in this course will understand about why the blockchain is very different with the state of the art of the current technology, especially we if we compare with the the cryptography and algorithmic based technology that used for the securing the information or data. So we will take a look what is differentiation of the blockchains and why a blockchain become more massive and also advanced technology that used for the purpose. Yeah. So hopefully we also try to discuss in the discussion later about what we can what your description. So what is your argument about the blockchain? Later on, I will give time for you to discuss with me, and then also we try to combine our thinking about the blockchain, and then hopefully in this meeting we have a same conclusion about what is the technology. Yeah. So let me share with you about our material for today. Oh, sorry. Okay, so for today, I will invite you to discuss about the technology of the of the blockchains, especially in these three questions. Yeah. So what are blockchain technology, and then why it is relevant for our business? Yeah, it's in more in more implementation way or in the more realistic way, and then we can learn one of the big technology company, which is IBM, have some solution on it. Yeah, so I use this slide from the IBM that I already get this material several times ago. So hopefully it's still a bit and then help you to understand about the blockchain, because I think the explanation on the slide is more easy to us to understand, and then we have get the point, the general point of the blockchain that we can understand for learn about the blockchains. Yeah. So I think before we start about technology of blockchain itself, so we have a challenge that the growth of the technology development is not only just came out with the development of the application or a platform that can connect it all the users around the world. Yeah. But the most important is how we can get the benefit from the connectivity itself. Yeah. So it is like building the business network. Yeah. So I think you already agree and understand that when we connect it to in the one single platform in the internet for a unique some unique purpose. Yeah. So in that time, in the same time, we also have the opportunity to have a benefit from that connectivity. For example, if we connect it to LinkedIn, for example, so I think all of you already have this in that account. as professional, a professional network in the world, I think when you update your profile in the LinkedIn and then you share something in there, in the same time you also have benefit that your profile can be seen many people from around the world that may be interested with your talent and your skill, for example, or maybe your expertise here. So that will be one of the examples. So maybe in the future, based on that network, you will be contacted by somebody around the world, and then invite you to discuss something, and then you have benefit from it. Yeah. So yeah, the term of connected customer, supplier, banks, and partner is very important, very essential today, especially in the business that the business need to be work across geography and also regulatory boundary. So I think we also understand that every entity in the world, especially countries, for example, have their own regulatory in the financial, in the some export or import regulation, and also some of the some of the very special case in every countries. So in fact, that the country that regulatory boundary in each country actually try to make their country is secure, but in the same time, it's make the tight boundary in every countries. So what happened? We cannot very freely to interact in the business matter with the countries. Yeah, so that the problem you can see maybe in the several years ago. Like European countries, the country that in the European, the area, realized that every country in the Europe have their own regulatory and also some rules that apply in the every countries. It's make them difficult, yeah, to communicate, interact, and then make some trading freely in country. And the fact is, the geography of the countries is very close. We can across in one or two country, maybe in just in hours or maybe in several hours, yeah, in that region. So that will be very, you can imagine if we want to enter in the one countries and then we need to check the border, check the document and also some permission and so on. So it will be time consuming and also have some, some difficulties on it. So in that case, that's why several, maybe all the country in the European countries agree to have agreement. They are being some European unions. Yeah. So in this case, they try to uh, try to delete or maybe some tests is to minimize the regulatory border problems in their perspective. So in here we can see that it's worked there. So they open the network, and then now they become one of the biggest, some of the economic engine in the world that have free connectivity to some business, to some traveling activities, to do something. In the same time, they try to secure the region together. Yeah. Not only they try not only just work to secure their own countries, but they work to secure all the regions. Yeah. So that's why we can see that in European unions, every countries have political wave that mostly are normal, and there is no any something that can disturb the economic process and growth. Maybe 2 years ago or 3 years ago, yeah, we can see one of the countries, which is UK, try to uh, out from the European countries, and it doesn't really matter actually. So that's the business network and connectivity works here. And then the second is after the connectivity become one of the some of the benefit that helpful for every parties. So it can be wealth. Yeah. It generates by the flow of goods and service across business network. So we need to secure the line and also secure the process, that based on the connectivity, they can make some, some impact on the economic growth, especially where the goods is flow and service is can be work across the business network, and there is no something else. And in the same times, the process of the market is centralized, to these processes. Yeah. So you can see that the public and also the private market will be growth based on the economic connectivity. So so that the illustration actually why the blockchain is exists to support this need. Yeah, especially in this case, I agree that the blockchain is occurs because of the need of the new landscape of the economic connectivities. Yeah. So this is why one of the big reason why the blockchain is very important. And then after we have this, this opportunity, so that's why the blockchain will be developed in the very advanced technology that provide the security, also about the immutable function, and also other characteristic that we already discussed last week. Yeah. So the most important thing that we need to realize on the blockchains, we not only just we not work only into the data or information, but the most important thing that actually about we discuss about the assets and also the value. Yeah. So I think you already realize also that uh, all the data information now is not only just about this is like data or information, but also a value, that will be our asset. Yeah. So it's mean the company or maybe the organization realize that we need to keep the asset in a good matters. There is no, we try to avoid that the asset that cannot not manage well. So we need to do so. So and also today I think it's very normal that company or maybe organization, they have their asset. It's not only in one countries, but maybe in many countries, especially now the digital landscape is giving the opportunity that we also we have opportunity to have asset, especially digital asset, yeah, in the other countries, in the maybe, for example, me, and for example, we can have our own account and our own credit on PayPal, for example. We can use another financial platform for international payment, and very easy. You will not you will doesn't have any issue on it to have this one. So in that case, when you have the asset on the PayPal or something else, it means you already have the asset that you can use for have your good, yeah, another good, yeah. So that would be the important things. So, but the problem is there are two fundamental type of asset, which is tangible, and another is intangible. Yeah, yeah. Tangible is one that exists, yeah, in the form of goods, for example, in the form of some things, yeah, physical things, yeah. But intangible is not in the physical things, but it's valuable. Yeah, so that would be the most important things. So in this one, we can see that intangible asset is can be financial letters, yeah, intellectual property, and then also digital material, and also one of the others, yeah, and also cash is also an asset, yeah. So that's the most important things. So that's why when we talk about the blockchain, and then we related with the one of the application of blockchain, which is Bitcoin. So it's mean Bitcoin is one of the cash that is intangible. So that's the one, yeah. So I think, but when you can see, it's not only just Bitcoin actually. Many example, yeah. If you work with the like e-commerce platform, I think you already have credit. Yeah, you use the CoPay application. I think that is also intangible things. Yeah, so you have money, you send, you pay for your credit, and then you have your A money on the CoPay. That will be, so it will be transferred from the tangible asset into intangible asset, which is a credit, and then you have a credit, and then you can pay something from the platform. So that will be the important things. So in that case, we can found that one of the big problem on the asset management or value management in this case, yeah, which is the security. So how we can ensure that if we have, for example, 1 million credit in your copy, it's used by you because based on the applications. Yeah. So it's different if you have money. If you have your money will be kept on your wallet. Yeah. So we can ensure that when you spend your money, it will be you. It's always you because your packet is your wallet is always on your back or you keep it. Yeah. But unfortunately, when you have the value, which is a money of in the credit, for example, it's like in the copay or something else, and then actually you doesn't have physical wallet, but you have the digital wallet, which is application in your smartphone. And what happens if your smartphone is hacked by somebody else or accessed by another parties that not related with you and use your account to do some transaction or something? So how we can ensure that it's you or not? Yeah. So in the perspective of the platform, yeah, of course, we realize that uh, what matter happen is you. Yeah, you execute the transaction and so on. But the problem is how we can minimize that risk, yeah, when you use this platform. So the blockchain give the opportunity to not to secure actually to trace it and to record all the transaction. Yeah. So based on the record that which is we will call a ledger will be one of the consideration, the main consideration to analyze that is you or not. Yeah. And in the same time, we have opportunity to give some authorization or maybe some of the some of the key that giving allow you to do that transaction. So that is very important. So this is about this case is about, for example, in the financial things. So what happened in the healthcare, for example, it's same, I think. Yeah. So yeah, I think we agree that all the person have their personal medical record. So what happened if we use the medical record data without any permission from the person? So that also will be a disaster. Yeah. So that the most important thing. So I will give you some example too. This is about the digital music. I think I think you also agree that now everyone can be a content creator, and then every content creator will be try to produce the good content and creative content and publish in the platform. But unfortunately, sometimes we not realize that the properties here inside the content is owned by other parties, and then we not we not have a permission on it. Maybe we not ask the permission to use that one. So in this case, it's very difficult to trace and then to detect on all these things. Yeah. I think we can see several platforms like YouTube, for example. I think they already these features. Yeah, if we add some musics and then we not declare as open properties, the YouTube will be give some notification and warning that we use a material that actually owned by other parties. So that also one of the most important things. So you can see that one why a blockchain is very useful and important for today. Yeah, is because to securing the asset actually, to securing the asset and then keep the value of the asset in the level of a good level. Yeah. So in this case, we can see that uh, sometimes we you know we have the issue that for example in the Bitcoin we only discuss about the fluctuation of the value of the Bitcoin. Yeah, so one Bitcoin will be some some amount of money and so on. So but actually the increasing decreasing of the value of Bitcoin is it show us about the value creation that we can see from this perspective. Yeah. Yeah, I think yeah, supply and demand is very depending on this processes. And the next is yeah, from here we can see that the blockchain give us the example how the information and data is very valuable in the futures. Yeah, so because when all the data will be connected into the block and all the block will be ensured by secure algorithms and then will be placed not in the decentralized system. So I think that make the value is more bigger. Yeah. So that's one of the important things. Based on this discussion, hopefully you catch the how the way of the thinking on in the blockchain's perspective here. It's not only just about simple, not only just algorithms. It's not only just some of the way to store the data, but the most important thing is we want to keep all the asset of data and information, and then the value will be in the same level even we are in the in the run of the time for in this case. Yeah. So I think, and also hopefully you can identify this on my explanation about the asset and value that all the commodity, which is data, information, or others properties, especially digital properties that have characteristic that can be managed by the process. Yeah. For example, in the supply chains or maybe in the digital asset management or something. So in that case, it will be it can be supported by the blockchains. Yeah. So if you have any question that in what type of object that we can use blockchain to support that object, yeah. So it's mean the object will be the data, information, and other things that have capability to transform from the tangible into the intangible asset and then become a value in the futures. Yeah. So maybe in the early years, yeah, I have a small research about how the blockchain can help, some of the deforestation. Yeah. So you can see that in the all the countries in the world have a same problem on the forest fires and then illegal logging and so on. So how we can minimize the risk using the blockchain. So I think you can see that the forest is one of the tangible asset and valuable in the future, but we need to keep it. So in that case, for example, one approach of the scientists from the University of Vienna, I think, so they use satellite image, and then we based on that image, they try to analyze the landscape of the forest and they counting the trees based on that image, and then store into the blockchains. And they do in the same period. For example, in the every 6 months or maybe every 3 months, one of the startup in Korea, in the South Korea, they do some satellite imaginary services like that, and they try to capture all the forest in every month, I think. Yeah. So based on that one, every month they have the data will be stored in the different blockchains, and then they will analyze based on the difference of the every blocks. Yeah. So in that case, they can support the government and also another parties in this country about the what happened in their forest. It is happened illegal logging or something else. So that would be also one of the good point of the this technology. So it's not only just implemented in the financial matters here, but also it will be, can be implemented in a very wide range of issue. And so the issue should be have this characteristic, and then the blockchain it can be used for that. So that's very important. So what actually the blockchains? Yeah. In the very traditional way, the blockchain is called a ledger, yeah, big ledger. Yeah. So what is ledger actually? Yeah, ledger is like this image. It is like a book, yeah, a book that record all the all the transaction. We can add some transaction, for example today, and then if we want to adjust, if we want to change the transaction, you cannot delete the transaction, but you only can use by adjust the transaction. Yeah, so that would be the next one. So the ledger actually commonly found in the accounting field. Yeah. So we use this one for the balance record. Yeah. So in the Indonesian word, you can hear about the debit and credit side. Yeah. So every transaction will be this one. So in the principle of the ledger is there is no edit and delete transaction. It's only add transaction. So if we have transaction today, this minute, we add the transaction, and then in second minute, for example, you cancel the transaction. You cannot just delete the transaction, but you need to adjust the transaction with new transaction that give explanation the previous transaction is cancelled, for example. So that's the ledger. So this is the system of record for a business matters here. So I think if you see a movie or you can see from television, sometimes the mafia have their own ledgers here that can keep record where the money came and then where the money is out from them. Yeah. And then you can see the network of the mafia, and then you can see what the crime they has done. Yeah. So that would be the record asset transfer between participants. Yeah. So in this case, the ledger is also record not only just the transaction, but also the asset transfer between the participants. So I mentioned last week that in the blockchain, we will discuss not only in the single network. The good things of the network is distributed network. Yeah. So it's mean the blockchain node will be exist in a lot of networks and then distributed. No one will be control another parties. So and then the record will be transferred between these participants. Yeah. So in this case, it is like very interesting because maybe like if we discuss deeply about this ledger in the current issue like corruption, for example, I think why is happened here because the record is decentralized. So everyone that control the centralized system you can be manipulated with their own need. Yeah. So with their own version. So it's very difficult to avoid corruption. So if you want to try to disrupt that one, so I think one of the candidate is using the blockchains. Now I'm still on the work to write my paper about this issue. So hopefully we can contribute to our countries here to minimize corruption activities using the blockchains. Yeah. But unfortunately, this is impossible or not. Yeah, yeah. Maybe it will be very impossible if we cannot implement and change the landscape from the centralized system into the decentralized system. So the interesting is the business will have multiple ledger for multiple business network in which they participate. Yeah. So it's mean that we will have a lot of ledgers node on here. Yeah. So yeah, in this case, uh, it's like your in the personal life it's like your diary. Yeah. So maybe when you you already old, for example, in the 10 or 20 years from now, and then your children found your diary, they will found what is what your your thinking about something in your age. Yeah. So you can read that one. So I think that also same things. Yeah. So in here, the principle, the ledger is theoretical is the principal book or that can be computer file, yeah? Transaction file for recording and totaling financial transaction by account type with debits and credit in split columns and beginning monetary balance and ending monetary balance for each account. So in here, you need to understand that the blockchain have the assurance about when we open the ledger, the ledger will be, balanced. Yeah, it's mean equal. There is no manipulation in there. And then, when we record the transaction, in the end of the month, for example, or period, it also will be balanced. Yeah. So in here, that the system is very good. I think the ledger is one of the good system that ensuring all the node and then the record of transaction will be balanced. Yeah. Balance, it's mean it's clear. Yeah, it's true, and then it's recognized by the system that is clear. There is no issue in that. Yeah. So the problem is if like in the perspective of the ledgers. Yeah. Like corruption, for example, there is no balance in the end of the, for example, period of time, and then the people will be try to manipulate and then make it balance. Yeah. So the activity to make the balance will be identified as illegal transaction or the corruption. So that will be the next one. Yeah. So yeah, based on this, this theory, we can build the blockchains. Yeah. So there is only some of the, but there is in the blockchain. It's not only just recording the transaction, but all the activity to record the transaction will involve the participants. Who are the participants? Who are the participant? The participant is member of business network. All the members that involved on the business network. So for example, if I record and then store this course activity into the blockchain, it means all of you that join to this course will be the participants. Yeah. And then we will record in this frame, for example, what your activity. Maybe you first leaders in organizations, yeah, and has specific identities and roles. Yeah. So you and me is also have some very specific identities and roles. Yeah. So that also, which means that is the participant. So if we place this component that we call participants, for example, in the e-commerce platform, for example. So it's mean the member of the business is also the supplier, the customer, the shipper, and also the platform itself that manages the transaction. Yeah. So that's also the participant. But don't forget maybe the government bodies that watch and monitoring the transaction, which is Otoritas Jasa Keuangan, for example. Yeah. So also the participants. And then the second component, the main component of the blockchain process is transaction. The transaction is not like I give you money, but the most important thing is asset transfer. Yeah. So if you do some activity that transfer of the asset, it means called transaction. For example, if you send email to your friend that you have a homework, for example, and then the draft is you share to your friend, and then you give your friend to have the access. So it's mean you have the transaction. Yeah. So the transaction will be identified as activity. Yeah. On the blockchain process. Yeah. Every activity will be have the transaction. I think it's same with in the accounting, yeah. So every move, every action, business action, will be have some consequences about financial matters. So because the financial matter is representing the asset transfer, so in that case, it will be recorded to the ledgers. Yeah. But the next one out in the blockchain is not only just the asset transfer, I just give you some money, but The most important thing is contract. Yeah. So we have a contract that we call, and later on we will discuss about the smart contract. The contract is condition for transaction to occur. So it will be in the baseline or will be in the context why the transaction is occurred. Yeah. For example, in here, if Anthony pays John money, then car pass from Johnny to Anthony. It is like a business process that we agree to use to execute the transaction. Yeah. If car won't start, fund do not pass to John. So that's also the thing. I think you can find in here in the e-commerce here. For example, if I use like Tokopedia, for example, I order the goods, yeah, tap the transaction, and then after that I pay the money, and then the Tokopedia will hold the money until the supplier confirm about the shipping and then other processes. And every process will be tracked. Yeah. So that also every process it called contracts. Yeah. So that would be the contract. So you can find that one. I think all the business process have this contract. Yeah. So I think, but the next one in the blockchain, every single process it will be recorded on the block, and that cannot modify. Yeah. So if we have any some different condition, so the information will be updated, will be added, yeah, not added, not but updated. So that will be one of the information. But I think on the e-commerce platform, not use the blockchain yet, yeah, but they use the database management system that already have this one. But actually, in the principle, they have this this component. So that will be the description how the blockchain can be happen if we have these three component, the main component, which is participant, and the next is transaction, and then the next is contract. Yeah. So when that's the principle, the main principle. Actually, before I discuss about it, these two slides is describe you about not only just technology, but it's in the science of the blockchains. Yeah, this is when I will discuss later on next week. But in here, what I want to say is based on this principle, the first principle is ledger, yeah, and the principal book for recording and so on. And then we have a three main component that can be construct and support the blockchains. Based on these two slides, we will discuss more deeply about the science behind it. Yeah. So in here, of course, blockchain will be have some intersection with another discipline, which is accounting. Yeah. So I will give you some perspective on the accounting why it's happened. Because I think when we have this the science perspective of the blockchains, you have opportunity in the future to develop and also to to maybe to do some development and then build for your own blockchain-like platform. It's not only just a blockchain, yeah, but also you can introduce another platform. Yeah. So in here, that the blockchains based on the ledger, it become a shared ledger technology. So yeah, we use the ledger, but the ledger is not owned by one parties and controlled by only one parties, but it is will be shared ledger, shared ledger. Which means it will can be accessed to all the parties that involved or participants that involved in the network, but there is no parties that control by their own self these ledgers. Yeah. So that the nice one. So you can see the description is very interesting. Yeah, to describe about this one. So it's mean like I have the book, but unfortunately the book is access all the parties, all the participants, and there is no one control the book. Yeah. So that the nice one. So in this point of view, you can see a difference of the current technology. Yeah, yeah. Why is it's mean you can see that when we compare or benchmark with the current technology, like using the database management system, yeah, we can set the rule that all the parties or participants can share the data, can add the data, but unfortunately, it's still controlled by the owner of the system. So that's the main issue. Yeah. So I think uh, I found some good comment on the chat. I will discuss it with you. Yeah, from the Ryan. Yeah, if the ledger technology is shared among the participants, that means the privacy is not current itself. In one perspective, yes, there is no security on it. Yeah, but unfortunately, every participant have their own rules that make secure. Yeah, so yes, I agree with you. The shared ledger, it's not secure, but because all the participants can participate to add the transaction and so on. But you need to realize that in the blockchain, every participant they have their own rules. Yeah. The rule will be made secure, and also we also have a smart contract that make security more more formal. So hopefully it will be it can give you some clue. Yeah, later on I will discuss with the presentation. Thank you, Ryan. It's good point of view. Yeah. So feel free if you have any some critical thinking, just write down or say with your mic, open mic. Yeah. So in here, I will continue. Share ledger technology allowing any participant in the business network to see the system of the report. Yeah. So it's mean everyone will watch about the transaction. So you can imagine that one, for example, if all the government transaction, which is using the people fund, yeah, we call the APPN or APPD, and then it can be all the participants can watch this one. So I think it will be the issue of the corruption or maybe the issue of the some same issue in there, it will be minimized. Yeah, but unfortunately now it's still controlled by one party. So I think that would be very difficult for us to see that one. So yeah, this is very interesting. Yeah, so I think the shared ledger technology is one of the most important things. So like let's say like the illustration, like if I have some worksheet, yeah, consists of several very very not important, yeah, but yeah, it's just sensitive data, and then I share with you. In the Google Drive, I have three options. Yeah, share with the link. Everyone that have their own link can be access the data. So I think that also one of the implementation of the shared ledger. Yeah. So allowing any participation to see the record of the data. But I can give the rule. Yeah. You can see, but you cannot edit. You can see, but you can only you only just view. Yeah. And etc. So that also the rule. Yeah. And then for example, you can also add some data in the drive and then just access for your private organization. Like I say, okay, I will share only for using the UKM email, for example. It will be the private blockchains. Yeah. So that also have that type in the blockchain, because blockchain is also have some public blockchain, have the private blockchain, and also etc. So I will discuss later on. Yeah. So in yours, but yeah, actually it came with the Ryan issue. Yeah. The problem is difficult to monitor asset ownership and transfer in a trust business network. Yeah. So how if any some opportunity to do something that make the blockchain principle is not work. Yeah. Yeah, in here you can see that the illustration, for example. Yeah, everyone have their own ledger. Yeah, for example, and then the ledger will be have some of the transaction, their own transaction, and then maybe they already have their own contracts. Yeah, and if the ledger is in every organization, so it's mean every organization control the ledgers. So of course we cannot control the another ledger to see and then so on. It depends on the owner of the ledger. If they have the permission, they have the access, yeah, we can use it. But if not, yeah, unfortunately we cannot do anything else. Yeah, so that would be the issue. So in here, it will be very inefficient, expensive, and vulnerable. Yeah, if we want to integrate, yeah, even using the high technology of API integration and so on, so it will be very difficult to realize the integration. So it's make what happened now in our uh, not only just country, yeah, but actually in our government, for example, the data integration will become disaster. Yeah, currently based on the COVID-19, for example, the data that it should be consist of the people that need help to have pansos, for example. Unfortunately, the data will be the data is duplicated, and then it's not good. Yeah, so because every parties, every government organization, sub-organization, they have their data, a ledger, and then when we want to integrate, it's disaster. We also have the EKTP, for example, but unfortunately, it's also same. It's become a new ledger, and then it become the new, some of the system cannot be integrated. So that is disaster, I think. It's also happened with our university, for example. We imagine that all the universities should be integrate, yeah, the data and so on. But unfortunately, all the parties, the faculties, they have their own data, and then when the data is kept and controlled by their own, and they're not let to integrate or to share with each other, so disaster happen. Yeah, so yeah, I think the integration, data integration now become not good enough anymore. Yeah, but we need the new landscape of technology to do that. So the solution is using this one. Yeah, so uh, we need to have some technology that have permission, replicated and shared ledgers. It's okay. Every party have their own ledger, but we have some consensus or some some of the agreement, the big agreement between the parties to let the ledger is accessible for anyone that connected to the parties, as participant. Yeah, the participant. Why they want to join in this network? Because they own they have same some same interests. Yeah. For example, if we are in the university, all the parties, which is faculty, for example, have same interest, yeah, to delivering the education and so on for the student and so on. So I think there is no there is it should be there is no like very ownership data that they want to keep by their own and not share to another. So that will be disaster. So in here, the ledger will be actually not only just share. It's not only like the ledger will be only one and then accessed by other parties. It is same. It will be will be centralized system. But the good things in the blockchain is the ledger is on the parties, but it's same because replicated. So this is like the system that do some duplication, very intensive duplication and replication to all the ledger, and then all the party will have same record. So you can imagine, for example, this party have some some illegal attitude to change the record. It will be different with the data that keep in the another ledger, and then will be verified. It will be there is any illegal action in the parties. So if we found that one, sometimes it will be kicked out to the network. Yeah, you can recognize anymore. Yeah, so something like that one. So that's the principle. So in here, the participant have multiple share ledger. Yeah, so that will be make consensus, provenance, immutability, and finality. Yeah, so of course, based on this scenario or the solution, we can imagine that one the blockchain will be one of the very intensive, connected and network parties here. So everyone should be need to be connected here. So that will be the nice one. So based on this one, hopefully as computer science student, now you can, let's say, like imagine in the early stage about what kind of algorithm that can be used to delivering this kind of the consensus, provenance, immutable, and finality. Yeah, that that very unique, function on the permission, replicated and shared ledger. Yeah. So that will be one of the challenge on this case. Yeah. So of course, yeah, one of the blockchains underpins is Bitcoin. Yeah, yeah, you can see that one. The Bitcoin is unregulated, yeah, and censorship resistant shadow currency. Yeah, sorry. Even that, the blockchains ensure cash-like, yeah, coin passing, yeah, is unique, immutable, and final, yeah, and then also, yeah, Bitcoin is the first blockchain application actually, yeah, but what I want to consider is blockchain is not Bitcoin, yeah, it's more than that one, yeah. So yeah, digital currency is different from cryptocurrency, so that it will be another things, yeah. So we try to discuss how we bring the blockchain into more wide and more broader discussion. Yeah. So in this case, when we want to see the blockchain for business, of course, to implement in the business is not only just good technology. Yeah. So I agree with the Ryan say or Ryan criticals point that we need to have some insurance here. So because in the business, we need to have insurance about the privacy and also is a good conduct of the business matters here. So that's why in the blockchain, mostly the development of blockchain is pushed to fit the business, yeah, to fit the business need. So that's why shared ledger is one of the principles that should be, should be working on the blockchains. Yeah, but unfortunately, the share ledger will be a pen-only distributed system of record shared across business network. Yeah. So it's mean when we see that one, when we found the share across business network, it's mean all the participant or parties that connected to network is already have same, some same interest. Yeah, it means like same interest and also same same need and so on. Yeah, and then the second is we have a smart contract here. So this is one of the important or very important component on the blockchain that everyone that connected to the network of the blockchains as participant is already agree with the contract that will be working on the ledgers. Yeah. So this is like business term embedded in transaction databases and execute with transaction. So it's clear when we need to do some activity on the blockchain and then when we will pay, for example. I still remember when I do my first experiment with the blockchains. Yeah, of course, a very simple way is I try to mining the Bitcoin, yeah, use, for Ethereum or something. I not remember. I think I already do that one in the last 3 years. I think in Lepaskachi as research purpose. Yeah, when when one Bitcoin still only one 100,000 and so on. Now one Bitcoin is very valuable now. Yeah. So in that time, I already have about maybe three point of Bitcoin. You can remember that one. You can imagine in this time. Yeah. So unfortunately, I already sold that coin and then to buy a server for lab for lab as country. So that why I do that one. So when I try to mining the Ethereum in the time before I run, I I also need to agree with the smart contract that exists from the Ethereum. So when I download the application to do some that, and then that will be one of the I agree with that one. So when I agree, it will be clearly in the process of the algorithm that I use. We implement the Ethereum way to do some mining on the Bitcoin. Yeah. So that within the smart contract. So we need to agree that one. So that's why in that time when I agree with them, and then when the algorithm or the transaction is like not very common for our network, especially in the campus. So of course, the transaction will be blocked by the TSSTE and so on. Yeah. So I think that's the regulation in our campus. Yeah. So that's why it's happened. Especially when we want to connect to the network in the campus, we need to be join the SSO facilities. Yeah. So it will be also some the obstacle, and then it's not rely on the smart contract. So it's very difficult. So this is very important. So I think in this time, in this point, hopefully now you understand that this smart contract will be cover up all the things on the process, on the business process of the blockchains. And then the second is ensuring appropriate viability. Transactions are secure, authenticated, and then verifiable. Privacy. Even using the shared ledger, it means not all people around the world can access the ledger, but the privacy is built by uh, the participant is authenticated and verifiable, and the transaction process will be securing by some the algorithm. So it is mostly impossible to execute the algorithm in the different way. Yeah, for example, in the some of the do some trick to manipulate the transaction and so on. It is very impossible. And not only just privacy, so but also the validation. So all the parties agree to network verify transaction. Yeah. So uh, the transaction that we has done, for example, as participant, will be verified by another participants. So like in the Bitcoin, if not wrong, yeah, I remember when I finish the job and I report the job to the network, if it's same with another parties and I may be late about 1 seconds, yeah, my transaction will be failed. It's not will be not verified, yeah, because the another party is already verified for the job. Yeah. So it means I need to working again and then repeat the process. Yeah. So that's the cool things. Yeah. So that's why in that time the network speed and then the reliability of the our computer side is very important. So in here, I want to say that the broader participant lower cost and increase efficiencies. Yeah, so that would be the next one. So yeah, once again, in the blockchain, we have the share ledger. Yeah, something that record all the transaction, but the term of the process using the smart contract, and then the privacy is conducted by authentication, verifiable, and then transaction will be executed in the secure way using the algorithms. And of course, the validation, which is the openness to another parties to agree on the verified transaction by another parties. So we have a consensus that we agree with one. So that will be make the system more democratized and then more secure. Yeah. So the shared ledger, the function is record all transaction across the business network. What's the mean of all transaction? Of course, based on the smart contract that we agree, all the participants agree about it. Yeah, but the next one on the record and the transaction that we record is not only just about the amount of the record, but also all the item, the attribute that we needed to establishing the transaction, timestamp, uh, what what are the transaction, the type of the transaction, and so on will be captured by the algorithm, and and every transaction that working on the business network will be applied, yeah, or will be will be recorded by the ledger. And the record will be shared between participants, and participants have own copy through replication. Yeah? And then, of course, still even participant can access, they will access using the permission. So participant see only appropriate transaction and the share system of record it. Yeah, so that would be the nice one. So I think when you see in the share ledger, it's not only just open, the book is open everywhere for everyone. No, but it's yes, it's accessible, but in some rules. Yeah. And in the smart contract, what is the inside the smart contract? And the most important thing in the smart contract is business rule or mapping the business processes that we agree to do in our networks. Yeah. So every business rule that implied by the contract that we agree on the all the participant will be in the smart contract. It's not only just like agreement, but also some of the process. For example, one of the I just read some paper that discuss about how to build a smart contract for legal locking, yeah, for legal locking. So what the data that you need to store, who the participant, what the execution and etc. So that also one of the most important things that we need to know about the smart contract. Yeah. So later on, I will discuss very in very detail. Yeah. So for example, maybe after we what we call it after we discuss about the blockchain science, we will discuss about what is the ledger, what the form of the ledger, and then what the smart contract, and then so and etc. And then the smart contract will be embedded in the blockchain and then execute with the transaction. And then all the transaction will be verifiable and signed. Yeah? Signed is mean it's authenticated. Yeah. And then of course, because we the blockchain technology, all the process of the smart contract will be encoded in the programming language. Yeah. So that will be one of the important things that we need to implies that using the sum of the programming language. Yeah. And then, for example, this is like define contractual condition under which corporate bond transfer occurs. Yeah. So that also one of the things. I think one of the example of the smart contract today is like when you transfer your money across the bank or across the countries. So the bank will be have some clearing activities, and then you, for example, they will have some intermediate process here to establishing the transaction. They cannot just do direct transaction to do that one. So now it's executed by the system, by the application, by developing some programming language that can provide the services. So this is like privacy. The privacy is came like it is like a different point of view. When we discuss about the privacy, it's mean like not keep the data, but because the ledger is shared, participant need privacy. Yeah. So the transaction to be private. Yeah, and then identify not linked to a transaction. But unfortunately, to do that one, actually the user is not very will be not very some of the user will be not do by their own. But the good thing is we have a cryptography. Yeah, so it will be help us to ensure that all the transaction will be private and not linked to a transaction. Yeah, so it will be in the central process. All these things will be centralized by the cryptography algorithm that we built. Yeah, so it is not like storing the user and password. Yeah, but the other side is the cryptography algorithm will be. So that's why in the blockchain we will use very advanced cryptography function to establishing the privacy. Yeah. So I think for the next we will also discuss about what type of the algorithm that we can use for this cryptography function. And then the validation is like we need to do some activity that try to find the transaction verification. So all the transactions will be verified by all the parties. And then the important thing is commitment. Yeah. So if in the network, one of the participants doesn't agree anymore with the smart contract, it means the participant will not agree anymore, and then it's not involved in the network on the blockchains. Yeah. So that will be the next one. So the problem or the challenge is in the blockchains, the participant is mostly is anonymous here. So that's why the commitment is very expensive. There is, some of the cases, the parties is like, yeah, commit in the first time, but after that they try to do something else. So that would be very very important. One of the case is like in the Bitcoin cryptographic mining process. Yeah, most of the anonymous participant uh, try to do that one. So they build like bot, or maybe they build some agent system that do the process, but unfortunately it's not verified actually. So we need to ensure that the participants are known and trusted. Yeah. So it's mean the commitment will be very we will have the commitment. So in here it's like uh, in the blockchain, we have a process to proof of stake where fraudulent transaction costs validators. Yeah. So we will have a proof of stake. Yeah. So it's mean like uh, if you still remember on the network, computer network, we have a term of handshakes. Handshakes. So if we have some communication, we have commit, and then all the parties will be have a handshake. So in here, it's like a proof of stake. Yeah. So when we do some transaction, and then we agree with that with the transaction, and we will have a handshake. It means the transaction is already finalized and then verified and validate which party that involved in that transaction. And then we also have a multi-signature. A multi-signature is like all the parties doesn't need to have a handshake, but when the transaction is verified, the transaction will be agreed that it's validated. Yeah, so that will be so in the good implementation of blockchain, we can see that all the party will be in the first place they will have a very have a very good commitment, and then after that they just only see the transaction, and then they just need to have some signature in the rest of the transaction, and then the work will be, the blockchain will be work. Yeah. So because they already have a high commitment in the first time when they join the network. Yeah. So that's why in every industries, of course, every area industry that have their own business process. So that's why the consensus, the smart contract, it will be pluggable, pluggable for any industries. So that's will be the challenge actually, because the share ledger I think is same, but the smart contract and then the privacy and then the validation will be depend on the industries, industry type, and also on the business process that exists in that. Yeah. So that will be the our discussion. So about the explanation about the main characteristic of the blockchains. Yeah. So hopefully you can see that's the blockchains overview, and also about the blockchains main component that you can see. But in the implementation, in the aspect of the technology and also the science, later on I will discuss about the detailed component on the technical, on the technical aspect, that how we provide the ledger, what type of technology, how we provide the smart contract. It's also will be a different landscape. Yeah. And also etc. Especially when we discuss about the privacy, I think the algorithms behind the privacy, and then the algorithm behind the cryptography is also will be one of major focus of our courses here to discuss that. So the next is mostly like the industrial benefit that that we can have from the blockchains. Of course, this will be reduce cost and complexity because it will be single big ledger. Improve discoverability is very important. For example, will be transparent and also will be you can trace the report every time. Trusted record keeping because it already become a commitment and also consensus all the parties that involved in this network and share trusted processes. So that it's also one of the important things. So of course, blockchain still have some not limitation but also some condition that we need to consider. Why? Maybe this is one of the component that still blockchain still on the under developments. And still have a challenge to enter the market and enter the business things. Because need high performance transaction. So that also the internet speed, the network speed will be one of the limitation. This is like a small organization because it's not easy to to connect it, all the parties that agree into one single network. So that's also one of the issue. So that's why now blockchain is mostly like work on the private blockchains. They work on the small organization in their own organization. And then what the type of the database technology that we can use to replace the current state of the database system that already exists now. And then the solution and then the transaction process replacement is also one of the challenge here. So I think that's the most important things, and then I will discuss later on. This is like the example how we can see the blockchain can be used for many industries. This is like letter of credit is we can mostly found in the banking transaction. This is like banking handling letter of credit. Want to offer them to wider range of clients, including startup. Commonly constrained by cost and the time to execute. So in years, blockchain can provide a common ledger for letter of credit, and then allow bank and counterparties to have the same validated record of transaction and fulfillment. Of course, the benefit will be increased trust, increased speed of execution, and vastly reduced costs. This is will be one of the breakthrough on the banking system. And then this is like a corporate debt or bond. Bank holding a corporate debt, pay vendor quickly, but also validated by the client. Allow the corporate client provide government with oversight of the processes. So in years, blockchain will be provide a common ledger for reporting all the transaction, and also available to bank, corporate client, vendor, and also the government. So in years, the benefit is speed up vendor payment, bigger net discount, and also eliminate risk and accelerate decision making. Owning bank can split the cost across its market. So it's also one of the, especially in the financial technology platform now, it is one of the I think potential technology that we can use. This is like a business contract. Business to business contract is also very important because in the business contract sometimes we define very detailed contract item that we need to consider for all parties. Agreement must be visible to buyer, seller, and bank, logistic partner, and other stakeholder. Especially now we are in the pandemic situation. We cannot do some business meeting in one place. So we need to have a platform on technology that can ensure all the parties visible in the contract. So this in here, blockchain provide a share record of the contract status, which is updated as the contract progresses, available to all parties to agreement, including the bank and partners. So in here, we can see that increased efficiency and transparency across the supply chains. And of course, risk management improved to the real-time update all of the contracts. So this can work for some administrative things too. This is like mostly for daily activity. We can use for smart refrigerator, for smart home. Yeah, this is connected smart devices limited by ability to interact with the business system. Yeah, of course, a blockchain can manage automated interaction with the external world, ordering and paying for food, to arranging for its own software update and tracking its warranty. Yeah. So in here, business value from connected technology, efficiency in network and supply chains. Yeah. So the refrigerator can order by themselves, by itself, yeah, in the store, yeah. And then, but also in the same time, will be transparent all the network members. Yeah. Yeah, the supply chain is also one of the big thing, I think, especially now we are in the e-commerce industries is now rapidly growth by the pandemic. But yeah, so consumer demanding transparency on where, how the product are made, and then some regulation are about the corporate supply chain with penalty for non-compliance. So we need to fulfill the compliance, and blockchain can enable safe digital transfer of property across the end of supply chains. Here. So in here, the benefit is variable, very variable, preventing any party for altering efficiencies through greater transparency. Consumer can make informed purchases, and government get valuable information. So I think this is one of the promising industry in supply chains. Well, this is one also aircraft maintenance. I think you already agree. Each component part is very complex. Yeah, manufacturer, production kit, batch, and etc. So the blockchain holds complete component detail of each component part. Yeah, and accessible by each manufacturer in the production process, the aircraft owners, maintainers, and government regulators. I think I know one of the industry in Indonesia, the automotive industry now is working on do some initiation on this issue, yeah, on this blockchain technology to support their something maintenance of the part of the automotive. So benefit is trust increase no authority on owns provenance, yeah, improvement in system utilization, and it's very easy to recall specific rather than cost flat. So that would be. It can also use for gaming industry too. One of you that very like to live in the gaming industries is the blockchain hold token of value share across underlying gaming platform. Yeah? So can be used the transparency, efficiency, and increased trust for all involved parties. Yeah? So it's also happened too. Yeah, it's a lot of things. Yeah, you can use for securities, trade finance, loans, retail banking, public record, and etc. Yeah, so that will be one of the illustration how in every implementation is like we have a shared ledger, we have a smart contract, we also have the privacy, and also we have some validation. So that will be, our first discussion today. So if you have any question, please uh, just open your mic, or maybe you can write in your chat. Yeah. Any question? Okay. Okay. We have another question. Yeah. Wait a minute. Open the chat. Okay, from Ryan. Yeah. Could you make any user in the blockchain acting as an admin or leader that organize the blockchain itself, or the user can only participate? So, okay, yeah, of course. We have a user that initiate the network. So it will be admin or leader in the first time. But after the network is joined by the other party is already joined in the network, in that time, he become no longer as admin or leader. They will be also the participants. So everyone will be the participant. So in that network, but we will have same ledger that share to everyone. Yeah. So that how that's make difference. Yeah. Of course, for example, if for example I want to make my own blockchain technology, yeah. So in the first time, I will be the admin or maybe the leader, yeah, that organize. I will invite you and etc. But after that, I will release my privilege as admin, my access will be not be admin anymore, and be the participant. So that will be the consensus on the blockchains. Yeah. So yes, I think that's a good question. Yeah. In the first time, we will have admin, we will have the leader, but after the other parties join the network, based on the consensus, we will be the participants. So that will be hopefully answer yeah the question, Ryan. Thank you very much. Any other question? Okay, thank you. Okay, so